Well, here we go, Danny. Chapter 8.
Here we are.
Relational reward. Of course, when we talk about relational reward, we all think about the financial aspect of working and reward. So we actually have three types of rewards that we like to talk about: financial, intrinsic, and relational. Financial rewards obviously are how the quality of our life and our employees are raised. Intrinsic rewards are sort of the knowledge of being a team, building things together. And relational rewards are just getting to know people on your team, getting to know your vendors, getting to know all the professionals that you're working with in this ecosystem that we talk about of work environment, or our work environment. But we'll start talking about financial rewards. When I first started my company, the number one value was to raise the quality of life for people who worked with our company. And so that meant to me back then, even though I didn't know what industry standard was, paying higher than industry standard. And if we go back to Guinness paid between 10 and 15% higher wages than anyone else in Ireland. And so it was always my intention to pay higher than what somebody was making at their last job or what they could get going to the next company, along with creating a culture where they had the freedom to take time off. They had the freedom to go take care of their family. They had the freedom to be human beings. So I think the relational reward aspect of what we're talking about is a generosity and an honoring of people who are actually pulling the load so that a company can get from point A to point B. We've tried lots of bonus systems. We've tried different ways to reward, and what we found is paying well and looking out towards the interests of others financially gives people a sense of security.
Mm-hmm. I like Daniel Pink's book, where he's talking about the mastery, the autonomy, mastery, and purpose, and giving people that experience. I think when as a pastor at Bethel Church for all those years, I didn't realize how unique it was in that there is this option, kind of an entrepreneurial option at Bethel, where you serve in your role, you do your job, you have all these responsibilities, and then there's these other opportunities that are created from all these global relationships, to where you begin to author books to try to meet that need. You begin to travel to different places to meet that need. You begin to build resources, teaching series, different things to supply and meet that need. And that generates revenue, and it's coming back to you, as an employee. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is a financial reward. It's intrinsic in that I'm part of it. I'm part of something greater than myself.
Right.
And it's relational because we are building community all over the world. So I think it becomes a super satisfying experience as somebody that could feel like just stuck in a box, and you're stuck in a job. And really, I think the leadership culture at Bethel, Bill Johnson did a great job of providing an opportunity for people to have that autonomy, and then enter into a level of mastery, being able to You deal with so many other situations, and feel like you're changing the world.
And your work, and Bill is someone who is operating as a child of God, as a father, who is seeing these things and just encouraging this autonomy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a master at, and I've learned, and as a result, all my people got the same thing. I'm gonna teach you how to serve a global audience and think with an eternal leadership paradigm, so that you're not just stuck in this little job as a children's pastor. But I want you to have conferences for other children's leaders. I want you to build material for churches all over the world, not just, so we do that with all our departments, and pretty soon we have a team of conference speakers, a team of authors, a team of really world-class ministers, because they had an opportunity to thrive.
And the interesting thing to me about that is you have a team of world-class ministers that could go be the senior pastor anywhere they wanted to.
Anywhere.
But they choose to stay within this Bethel organization because of
the opportunity.
Yeah.
A bunch of those opportunities would go away if they were the senior leader somewhere.
So it's just amazing to see the church, the movement grow.
Yeah, I think there's a loyalty you become part of something. You become part of a family. When there's a father who is leading as a son or a daughter, and when there's someone who leads with the benefit of the people that they lead, there's just a loyalty that comes from that.
And it's the most incredible reward. Because you see people making choices to make less money to stay. But what they have is a quality of life that they can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, opportunities and needs are being met that won't be met anywhere else.
We see the NFL headlines every year. This guy is leaving this team after 2 years to go make $1 quadrillion over at the next team, and it's just business.
Yeah,
just business. Or traded. It's just business. And I understand business and what they're talking about, but there's the small examples of here in San Diego. When Tony Gwynn was playing in San Diego, he stayed here his whole career because he loved San Diego. He probably could have made millions and millions of dollars if he would have left, but he didn't, because he loved his quality of life and he loved his job, and he went into the Hall of Fame as a Padre. And there's fewer and fewer of those players who have made a choice because of relationship or mastery.
And largely due to there's fewer and fewer owners who create a culture like that. And they'll just trade you for a buck. And they'll trade you for an opportunity to go further. And you're like, that's just the way this works. If that's your culture.
Right.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. And so, we're working at creating culture for businesses and for churches and for nonprofits that can have this aspect of honor and reward. We're both involved at Jesus Culture, and Banning has, as he's been planted from Bethel to Sacramento, we're watching him create his own culture, and it's amazing to watch.
And how long have your guys been working with you?
Long. The shortest tenured guy, he's 33 years old, and he's worked for 11 years.
Yeah,
that's right out of college.
And how long has the longest guy been there?
30.
Yeah, 30 years.
30 years.
There is a bunch of needs being met in that environment.
It's interesting because just recently we had a dispute that was going to litigation, and Rich, we worked together for 30 years, he and I were on a conference call with attorneys and the other side of this dispute, and it became very disrespectful. And my pride came up, and I was contemplating settling this dispute, which was in the millions of dollars. But I had been so disrespected, my pride came up that for $50,000 or so, I was going to not sign the document. So Rich, as we're in the middle of this phone conversation, and this man is being so disrespectful to us, he puts the phone call on hold, and he gets in my face and says, "Your pride is getting in the way. The right thing to do is to settle this issue, and settle it now. Get back on the phone and settle it."
There's some feedback for you.
That was feedback. I looked at him, and I had steam coming out of my ears, not at him, but he was right.
Yeah.
And we got back on the phone, and I capitulated, and we got the deal done. And that's what some of this reward that we're talking about is, years and years and years of walking together, knowing that he had the ability to put that guy on hold and tell me where I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I was.
This is the test of honor.
Mm-hmm.
This is the test of the strength of these relationships. It's moments like that.
Right.
Like where he knows the best thing to do is not where you're going. So he says, "Hey, you are not living up to who you are right now. Redo, reset."
And so it's a pleasure for me, it's an honor for me to, excuse me, to pay these guys well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm getting intrinsic rewards and relational rewards because of them.
The whole environment is thriving because all these needs are being met. Rich in that situation needed to feel powerful. And he did. The sign over your head said, "Thank you for your feedback," before he gave it, and he knew that. And he steps in and says, "All right, we need to adjust this." So you surround yourself with powerful people, which is this whole thing of rewards. Is people's lives are saturated with nutrients that humans need, that for some reason we give ourselves permission to not supply them in a business context.
Yeah, one of the things that I see most, if we're ever at a dinner party or a gathering, and you'll see some men gathered around, and a wife will walk up and say, "What are you guys talking about?" And business. Well, in my experience, business is all about relationships. And who is more qualified? In my life, Lauren is way more qualified than me to talk about relationships. So, when she walks up, "What are you guys talking about?" "Oh, we're talking about this thing at work with this relationship. And what do you think I should do?" And she always has the right answer. It's the funniest thing. Well, thank you for joining us for Chapter 8. We're going to move into the last section of the book, Section 3, and that is Chapter 9 and Chapter 10. And we will look forward to joining you next time.